We're back!
Hello, hello!
Oh nee, wacht! Oké, wacht even. We switchen nou van Fries naar Engels. Maar we dan
Ja.
het mij weer introduceren. Want
Ja, we hieten nog wel troprekkend.
Again, my tea.
Dutch tea?
English tea, actually.
Yeah, but with a theezakje. It's very Dutch. Especially to use it twice.
Welcome to a podcast.
Welcome!
Welcome back, hopefully.
Yeah.
We were just discussing how we're gonna structure our subject for the podcast today.
Yeah.
And today we actually want to talk about a topic that Ilse is experiencing also.
Yeah.
Last couple days.
Yeah.
And
well, weeks actually.
Weeks. Okay.
Very
weeks.
much. Yeah.
Weeks.
At least the breakthrough happened a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And I think now I'm really starting to get more used to this new way of thinking and behaving.
Damn. Okay, so tell me about the exact breakthrough. After we introduced.
Oh yeah. Yes.
The topic, because we're gonna talk about a consequence of when your fear brain is taking over. At least maybe that's the most simple way to put it. Resulting in you thinking that everyone around you or most people around you stop minding their business and is focused on you and has an opinion about you and is thinking about you.
Yeah. They all do it. I mean,
they all
let's be serious.
Me?
Yeah, the world revolves around me, right?
The world revolves around you. Yeah, exactly. No one has a shit to do.
Nah.
No one has hobbies or work or their own struggles and problems. Everyone's thinking about you.
Yes. What's that movie again? That H. Ventura guy? Truman Show. It's exactly like that. And well, stop living in your own Truman Show, where everybody's watching you and everybody is controlling you. And
it's crazy how easy that again, let's call it that part of your brain can get activated. Maybe can get triggered about something, and also can take over control and is running on autopilot the whole day long, and before you know it,
indeed.
Literally you start acting like it too. You start to expect people are thinking about you, having an opinion about you. So maybe you get scared, you get insecure, you're not
even more
exactly. Maybe you don't take on any projects or that kind of stuff. Because you're like, oh my god, everyone's judging me, that kind of shit. So
yeah, indeed, it actually hijacks you. It hijacks your authenticity and maybe even your true purpose or what you find meaningful, and actually it can become your identity.
Crazy.
Even though it's a world that you created actually, or was created. It was not totally created by you. It was created by the experiences you had and how you interpreted that and how you interpreted your behavior, or the right behavior according to those experiences.
So should we start with how you experienced it last couple of weeks? First thing, like how did you realize you were in that type of mindset? You were thinking that.
Well, I think I realized it before that I knew that I did it, but I just realized that when I was at home or when I was doing things, I was in a conversation with somebody else in my mind, and I was letting them stop me in my mind from doing things that I wanted to do. At a certain moment, I realized that I was actually kind of tearing myself up through their words in my head. And I don't know, suddenly I realized, it was really a realization. I realized, like, this is not real. Like this world that I'm living in is not real. And that was I think that was the first moment that I really realized that there was actually something going on in my mind that was not real. And before that, it was real. It was always real. It was always there, and I treated it as real. it was so real. It was actually as if I was living there more than I was living actually here, like where you have tea.
Yeah. So by that you mean you're living in your brain more than you were living in reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in your construction of reality.
Yeah. And can you tell a little bit more about how the that world in your brain, what did it look like? Was it just one person, or did you just only realize it was just voices or maybe images or something?
Yeah, I think it was mostly conversations, like conversations with somebody,
Yeah.
or sometimes it depends on the person that I thought would judge me. Like if it's a person that I would have a lot of contact with, it would be an extension of our conversation. Like we would have I would think of having a conflict with them,
Yeah.
and then trying to resolve that conflict.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And in other people who are more like background people,
Yeah.
it would be more like images that I would want to do this, and then I would see them like
Yeah.
or something like this.
Yeah. As if almost you have like a kind of an audience, or you're really literally reconstructing previous situations where you maybe where you have been in,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a whole different story going on, and it's about you, and it's very recognizable.
Oh,
Relatable.
yeah.
Relatable, that's the right word, I think.
Yeah.
Very relatable.
Well, that's
It's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah. I really realized it was crazy. Like I really thought, like, oh my god, that's literally what craziness is, because it's not real.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe you go crazy, but then me too. And I think so many other people.
Yeah,
But it's hard to be aware of. So because so you and me, we both have a history of meditating.
Yeah.
And you still do it every day.
Yeah.
For me, my meditation has switched from just literally meditating, closing my eyes, to just maybe more into sports.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, can you tell how the influence of meditation on being aware that this stuff is happening inside of you,
Mm-hmm.
and also how you behave because of that towards?
Yeah, I think I'm always a little bit careful when using meditation as something that is helpful, because in the original practices it's just something that you do, and it shouldn't have a purpose, and that's why it's meditation, because it doesn't have a purpose, and it doesn't. But yeah, if you really do it, you know that it has benefits.
Yeah.
So there are a few things, like meditation is helping you practice to be in the moment.
Yeah.
And when you are in the moment, you realize that nothing essentially has meaning.
Yeah.
The only meaning that it has is what you give to it. And that is when you are in the moment, you take like a step back from a created reality into like a concrete now.
Yeah, the real reality.
The real reality. And it calms your nervous system, so you know you are safe. And the moment that you know you are safe, you realize you don't need to control things. And that's also what meditation does. You know that you don't need to control. Yeah. And you know that you can't control many things that your mind thinks it can control.
Yeah.
And meditation also shows you, because you're not distracted by anything else, it shows you the things that you are trying to control.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it actually just starts. That also sounds to me like something that comes by time, when you train yourself into being aware of what's going on inside of you, and what's going on in your mind.
Indeed, yeah.
So it starts with mind. Then maybe mindfulness is a better word than.
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah, because it's not just meditation that helps. It's indeed being mindful. Because yeah,
Yeah,
you can meditate for 10 minutes in the beginning of the day, but if you are not mindful for the rest of the day, you can still have all those other things going on.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You can still believe all the shit that is going on in your head.
yeah.
The audience is like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you doing?
You're fucking this shit up again? What?
Ew,
Hell no.
gross.
Oh, that's so sad. That's really sad, actually. But what's even more sad is that we just know how many people are walking around with those scenes going on in their brain, which actually have been going on for so long that that becomes harder and harder to become aware of.
I mean, when are you aware of your hands? Like when it hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
But normally you are not aware of your hands.
No. So it's also because I'm thinking, just you take a regular day. Maybe in the day, like take a Monday. Most people go to work, go to school. It's like a lot of tasks that's on autopilot.
Yeah.
But even more so in these tasks, the training ground actually where you can start to be aware of what's going on in your mind.
You mean that the moments that you are doing tasks in autopilot, that should be the training ground for being mindful?
Yes. Or that, or maybe because I'm also curious about your opinion about this as well. Because what you could also do is to start doing this. Then you just go on with your day, and once you go home and you have some time to take a rest, and then you take some time to maybe write, or maybe you do meditate to be aware of what's going on in your mind. But I did that, and what I found out is that once I sat down and I really you automatically try to quiet yourself, and then I didn't have access to the things that were going on in my mind. I couldn't get it. But when I was just going on during the day, and then what I just did is I tried to be aware of the moments where I felt like shit. Maybe
that's important.
that's like an alarm kind of going off, and I had it also in meetings with people I looked up to. Those are kind of like, you could call it triggers maybe too, but those are the things where I felt like shit, and those moments where at some point I became aware of that. I thought that like this guy is sitting in front of me and he must think this, and he was actually kind of saying it to me already in my imaginary movie playing. And then I went home, and then I was thinking, maybe I'm driving in the car, went home on a bike, and then I was feeling shit again because that meeting, I felt like shit in that meeting. And then the movie played again, and he was saying things again.
It, because you were trying to resolve what what happened.
Imaginary things that didn't even happen. Maybe this guy was thinking about the beautiful night he had with his wife.
Yeah,
he was like, that was nice, cool.
Yeah,
what can I do tonight to?
How can I please her?
Yeah. So
but you're right. Now I understand what you mean, like because meditation and inner work, like doing that at home, yes, I mean it gives you a lot of insight and it gives you a lot of reflection. It actually makes some kind of this is necessary to create like a roadmap for yourself, because it shows you like, these are my weaknesses, this is where I struggle, this is what I take home, it's all the baggage. But indeed, it's not the stage.
No.
it's not where you perform. It's
No.
it's where you rest for your performance and you think of your performance.
Yeah.
But when you're out in the world, this is where you indeed practice, where you put that stuff to action.
Yeah.
And that is indeed where you really do this thing. So you really need to that's actually where you implement those things that you realized during your quiet time, so that it's not just a realization. No, it becomes a changer for your behavior.
Yeah.
Because
How did you do that? How did the implementation? Because that's actually really beautiful that you have the reflection.
Yeah.
And you have implementation.
Yeah.
So how did it look? How did that look?
Well, for me, it was just like I thought like, okay, at my work or even with my neighbors, I was like, every moment I realize that I am thinking something that they are thinking.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna listen to that. Like, I'm gonna listen to it because I cannot do anything else, but I'm not gonna act on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna still do that thing that I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So the moment that I would want to go to the toilet for the third time in a row, for instance, that I would normally think like, oh, if I go now again, they will think like, why is she going to the toilet 3 times? And then it's like, what the hell? Let them think this. And it sounds like a small thing, but it starts small. If you do it with if you do it with your neighbors, if you do it at work, like, I have a question I do not dare to ask because I think they will think like, that's a stupid question. I will ask it, and it builds up.
Yeah.
And you start to feel stronger, and you start to realize more and more and more like, you find out like, oh, all these things are untrue. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
That's very important. And you start to get closer to yourself because you keep listening to yourself. You stay true to yourself. So you also stay more centered.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that combination is that this world that you created starts to fade because you realize more and more and more it's untrue, or it doesn't break you. So it just dissolves.
Yeah.
And and simultaneously you are centered more. You are you just move. You just do your shit.
That's literally that's next level, because you actually you remove some blockages, like you remove stuff that's in the way of you just doing what you want to do. Doing what you feel like you want to do.
Yeah, indeed. You're removing actually part of your shadow, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think that's also kind of shadow work.
Yeah.
Integrating things that are, layered underneath.
Yeah.
It comes into light. You just do what you want or what you think is important.
So actually, that reminds me of the question I remember now. I sometimes ask myself is, so like, just imagine if no one, there's still everyone around you is still there. Like, don't picture them gone. Just picture them, everyone's still there.
Mm-hmm.
But really know and feel that no one is thinking about you. And everyone is minding their own business.
Yeah.
And everyone has the same shit you have. And is full focused on that. Then what would you do? And how would you feel?
Yeah.
Literally, I would feel like, holy moly, okay, holy shit. I would do this. I would start my own YouTube channel. I would
you do that now?
Start my OnlyFans.
You already had that, right? OnlyFans.com. Yeah.
So, but that's the thing. Maybe you would. I have no idea. Maybe you would just. It could be life-changing things. Switch jobs. Quit your job.
Yeah.
Go into another thing. Yeah. So it comes down to. So take your life now as it is, and be aware of moments when you feel insecure and basically like shit, and start to unravel a little bit what it is you're thinking at those times, and are there specific people involved in that feeling, maybe too. That's what I hear you say as well.
Yeah.
Maybe specific people.
Yeah.
And what are they saying? How does that make you feel? I think maybe it's a good thing to start with that.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Now I'm also thinking like what's also very important in this, it's that you also really learn to self-soothe, because without self-soothing, it can be still very traumatizing.
Yeah.
Because it's not like we make it seem like, oh, it's a snap and it's very easy to overcome, but like this is also where the meditation is for, or inner work, or work being with yourself alone, that you know how to self-soothe and how to self-regulate, like what can you do to make you feel comfortable, or how can you stay present in now with your uncomfortable feelings. That is really very important, because otherwise you're trying to do it but you're not gonna have a nice experience because it's too triggering.
You actually almost like as if you're triggering yourself by pointing out why you feel like shit. For example, as if you're investigating something which is going on in your brain, hasn't even happened yet, and by doing that maybe you're triggering yourself even.
And that can result in you doing the thing with a lot of self-criticism. Again. And maybe keep repeating what you think they would think whilst you do that. So,
and how exactly does self-soothing look like to you? What do you do in those moments?
For me, well, okay, I feel a little bit ashamed of this, honestly, because I know that I use my concept of God, and I know that God is such a, well, it's not the most popular used symbol. It's very controversial, but so let me just have a small, it's like for me, God is also an endless source of love. By the way, I use two things actually to self-soothe.
Okay.
I used to use God as like an endless source of love, in which everything I do is okay. I'm fully seen, I'm fully held, I'm fully supported by God, whatever that is. I don't know, nobody knows. So, and I don't care. It's just that feeling of being supported and feeling love. But also, I also sometimes use the image of my mother, who is holding her hand on my heart and telling me it's okay, I love you, you are loved. So this can also help, that you use a person that will never go away, like maybe physically, but who will endlessly love you, you know it, or a source of love that will endlessly love you, and you know this, and you use that as some kind of tool to tap into that feeling of being loved, being okay, being totally accepted, whatever you do, whatever you, whatever. And that is, I think that is, but in the end, also what they also say is like your nervous system regulates best if you're just in the now. So but if you cannot be in the now, but you can go inward into some kind of fantasy, then this is a good practice.
Because I also can imagine that being in the now can be confusing. Like, what does it mean? What is now? Now is actually, I feel like crap, or for example.
Indeed. If now feels like crap, Yeah, how do you get from now? Yeah,
How do you use the now to soothe you?
Yeah, indeed. Like, how do you know, even though it feels like crap, it's okay?
Yeah.
And that is
Yeah.
what I know. If I surrender to God, or I surrender in my bed to my mother.
Yeah.
Well, to my mother's love, like,
Yeah.
it's just like being like just like a small child who is hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah.
Yeah, because that's like I try to, because it's again is beautiful that you feel God's love or your mother's love. What does it do that you can kind of accept the shitty feeling with kind of like open arms, a little bit more open arms than how you used to. More like, okay, maybe I can accept some part, a little bit, just try. And then surrendering, feeling. Maybe, because I try to give it words to what happens if you mix the love with the shitty feeling. Like, what has happened? What if the two come together? How do you feel? You feel like
you relax.
Yeah.
Like it's the same like when you have a pain in your body. When you relax to it, the pain starts to dissolve. More or less. Like, or it's still there, but it's like, okay. All the surrounding muscles. And I think when you surrender more to a feeling, or when you know that you're loved, you know that you are supported, and when you start to know that you are supported, you know that there will be solutions, because you're not alone.
Yeah.
This situation is not forever.
Yeah.
And if you're in resistance, and you're like, I don't want to feel this, it's like you're afraid because you think it's like forever and it never changes, and blah, blah, blah. And when you know you're loved, and there are people, or there's a God who will construct some kind of solution, whatever, then it's there, but it's not such a problem anymore.
No.
You're used to it, and then you can build.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly, and it's a process also. Yeah, that's when you start to build. Maybe open up more. You try to see things in different perspective. Maybe maybe because this is so relatable.
Yeah.
I have those movies also. I call them movies. I have them in my brain, and I try to do that too, and soothe myself in it. And by time I recognize that maybe the same movie could like keep on playing, but some people disappeared in the movie, like they went away, or the ones who just stayed were saying a little bit different things, like maybe a little bit more a little less harsh things about me, like so. And that's like slowly the shittiness went down. That's like literally sometimes the shit goes down, you need to go to the toilet. But Dutch people try to talk English.
But so for you, is it more like, because for me it's really like, okay, I have this movie, and then I find an external source still in the movie, but and then some kind of the movie change. For you, do you also have like, it sounded like your movie is slowly just changing, and also is that where you're having most attention, or do you also have like some kind of
source? I do have it. I do have it, and I take that from very positive experiences. So because you were talking about your self-soothing and how that impacts the fear mindset, actually. For me, different things help, because I tried to do that too. Maybe it was not the right timing. I really was too much in resistance that it didn't help to visualize a soothing type of feeling, energy. I could do that with my mom too. But it didn't really work because I was like, I'm fooling myself. Like still, I have the soothing feeling, but and I know everyone, my mom loves me, I know my family loves me, but still, those people are saying shit things about me. I'm convinced about that. So, but by time I try to, because I'm a stubborn person, I try to just in reality, in those meetings, ask the question. I try to talk to the person I was afraid of, and then I learned that they actually really like to talk to me, for example. And so I had really positive experiences, and though the feeling that gave me, I really let that build up and take it with me all the time. Like I have that backpack with me all the time.
You internalize that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Double down on internalizing that stuff. So that actually now when the movie is, I still have those movies playing. So it's a little bit weird because the same meetings with the same people I still think about when I bike home or drive home. But now actually some narratives totally changed, that they're not saying negative things about me, but they're saying positive things about me. And that actually they're really happy to have me in the team, and that I'm doing good things. So but I want to be aware of that too, because sometimes now the whole topic's kind of changing, but I want to be aware of it too, that you still need to be realistic. Like it still need to be reality.
It's still a narrative. Yeah.
It's still a narrative. Exactly.
Yeah.
It can flip. Also.
Yeah, that's true. And this is where I sometimes also, like, when I'm in bed, I really persuade myself. I really push myself to realize that all those things, all those narratives, it's not there.
Yeah, exactly.
It does not exist. It's what I said in the beginning. It's a world we made up. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And also, even if you have a positive narrative, it can still be a self-soothing mechanism for fear you're feeling.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is just the only thing that we need, is feel the fear.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, I feel fear. What do I need in this fear? What does my fear need? Or just I feel fear, and okay, damn, good.
Yeah.
Feeling fear, I'm alive. Whoa.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's crazy. That's also really crazy, because the change in years ago, we both didn't want to feel the fear.
Yeah.
Not at all. And now we're like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Fear is good.
Fear is good. This is I know it will, because we're so convinced. We learned that it's temporary.
Yeah.
That tomorrow you go to sleep. Tomorrow you feel completely different.
Yeah.
You have nice interactions, and the fear it will go away. It's like it's a wave. It will go away. You know it.
Yeah, and if you the paradox is, the fear goes away if you feel it. If you don't feel it, it builds up, because you can create a narrative of why that thing you're fearing is real.
Yeah.
And you can create an even bigger narrative on, it can build like a snowball and it can become this big block in your way.
Yeah.
And if you just feel it, you know it's fear, and also more easy to look at it rationally, like, is it gonna kill me? What is the benefit of overcoming this fear? What is the true risk of doing this?
Yeah.
Instead of it's fear. Let me think of this and this and this and this. Yeah. Oh no, let me counter that with that and that and that.
Yeah, like a car slipping even more into the mud.
Indeed. Yeah.
And which is very logical if you first start to be aware of emotions and you start to be aware of your fear.
Yeah.
And if you then try to force yourself to feel the fear, maybe it's more easy, because this is we need to do another podcast about this too, like how to handle emotions you haven't felt for a long time, if you feel like you feel it for the first time. We need to do that.
Yeah, because this is
a whole
I I think like 5 years ago or maybe more. Well, I don't even know how many years ago it was that we for the first time really start to feel our feelings and start to.
I don't know either. We need to get back to that.
Yeah, yeah. It's good that you say that because
Yeah.
maybe you are a person who is just in the beginning of this and you're like, oh, I want to do that too, but yeah, it's maybe that's not yet for you, and that is totally okay because you don't really have the tools yet, or yeah.
And I also want to ask you how because you say when you're laying in bed you try to persuade yourself to actually mute the stuff. How you do that, like
yeah, that's also
and what it feels. That's what you want. That's what you want to.
Yeah.
Thinking the same thing. Nice.
Okay, so we also give some practical tips on how to do this, how to put this into how to actualize this. And there are a few things that you can do. And well, I always encourage people to meditate because it just gives you a lot of insight and it shows you how your mind works. But more easy is just when you are in bed and when you are seeing like these narratives. What I do is I just picture everybody gone. Like I try to visualize just blackness, or I visualize the universe and I'm just in the universe, and that sounds it's very fake, but it's just like some kind of emptiness. Yeah. But it should be an emptiness that you feel comfortable in. So an emptiness that carries you. If you visualize this, that you are surrounded by this, then everything else starts to mute. Like if you really tell yourself, it's not true, it's not true, it's not true. This is also what I do. Like I really say this, repeat this to myself until I am really like, I don't hear that anymore. Like first people are there, they're saying these things, and I'm thinking, oh, I need to do this, other than this. And I was like, no, it's not true, it's not true, it's not true. It's also crazy. And then like the void comes, then the void is there. Okay, so first you need to look at what you are all creating in your head. Yeah. The narrative.
Yeah. Which is a process all the time.
Then you set the boundaries. You don't want this narrative. So you say no. And then repeat it as many times until it sinks into you. Like, oh, it really does not exist. And then you can create like a space that's empty. Yeah. That is just you. And then you are centered. You're centered in yourself. You feel your body. You just feel whatever is there. Maybe you hear something. The wind, or
just silence, just maybe
or your
nature
or your own farts. Whatever suits you.
It's also a beautiful sound.
Yes,
beautiful.
The smell too is beautiful.
It also, oh boy.
And then I think you're just free will, because this is where your own magic happens. I cannot tell you what is centeredness for you. This is what you know. Yeah. But I think that part is essential, that you're basically putting boundaries with everybody who has invaded you in your mind.
Yeah. So short summary. Over time, become aware of moments where you not feel good, you feel insecure, you feel fear. Yeah. Try to figure out which scenes are playing in your mind, who's in there, what is it, what are people saying, how does it make you feel, and then once you're aware of that, just start setting boundaries.
Just no, it's not. I don't want this.
Exactly. So that actually looks like just really taking time for yourself. Maybe laying in bed, laying down, sitting in meditation mode, sitting outside, and really just yeah, maybe get pen and paper or close your eyes and try to say maybe, yeah, try to say no to those people, no to those thoughts.
Yeah, for instance, yeah.
And but also I think for me, if I would do it, also it's important to really be convinced of the no. I'm a person who has difficulty saying no.
Yeah.
So maybe, but that takes time too. That takes
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And then also picturing just the people gone. People gone.
Yeah.
Silence, a space that carries you.
Yeah, or maybe even if you want to cut some strings or something, it's also fine. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But just let it fade. And if that's fearful to you because you are anxiously attached and you are afraid that people leave you, because that's also something that can come up. Just know that it is not temporary. People who leave you because you are in this moment with yourself. You're taking this moment for yourself. Well, those people who leave you, if you do that for 5 minutes, they should leave.
Yeah.
So and then feel the pain with that, and keep that pain with you. Like, it's you. It's your pain. It's your feelings. It's your
Exactly.
Yeah, and don't confuse pain with not being centered.
Yeah.
Because centered is not like, oh, everything's peaceful.
No.
Everything is good. Oh, blah, blah. It is. Everything is good, but it doesn't mean it feels good.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's also a thing that you need to remember.
The space, for example, a space where I picture myself in that kind of carries me was I was just floating between the stars, like up. And for some reason, I think, but I had sight on Earth, so I knew where everyone was. I knew my family was there. The people who cared about me were there.
Yeah.
But I just took a step back and I was literally just floating between the stars.
Yeah.
And the darkness was actually, and the silence was actually very comforting.
Yeah.
That actually, being in there made me aware of what's going on inside me and who I actually was, what I actually wanted.
Yeah.
That, and also what we talked about before, that if people, if it made me realize the feeling of that everyone's minding their business and everyone's just doing the thing on Earth and no one is
I like that.
Yeah, it's a very weird feeling because it just completely shifts me. But the thing is that once you realize that everyone's minding their own business on Earth, that I learned in being in that kind of feeling what it is that I wanted to do if no one would judge me.
Yeah.
And so who I was actually. And so I think that's also what all those 3 steps, maybe now 4th step we're explaining now, what it brings you.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it brings you really back to yourself.
Yeah.
From that point, we cannot tell what is there. This is you only can figure out.
Yeah.
And explore.
Yeah. Explore yourself. Oh, that sounds. That also sounds like, you just do
some self-exploration.
And implement it then. Try to, and that, and it's not like, at least for me, it wasn't like as if the fear goes away once you really felt the feeling that everyone's minding their own business and you can do whatever you want. No, then the next day comes and you still want to do your stuff. At least you know now what it is, what you want to do.
Yeah.
But it still feels very scary. But also maybe in those little moments when you're about to do something in real life, you try to take a small action.
Yeah.
That you try to remember that feeling. That you felt in a meditation, or you felt just when you were being aware of it. And still do it.
I really want to encourage both, like that moment for yourself, like that big time moment, and those small moments, and because they relate to each, like what you say, like remember that feeling, even when you put it to practice, remember that feeling, that it also goes away. Really do those small things that you think doesn't matter, because it's like you can either choose like, oh, it doesn't matter that I now don't do this because I think they think that and that and that, but that becomes a habit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you really need to train yourself to then do what you want to do, because despite of them thinking that and that and that, because then that becomes your habit.
Exactly. It's actually in the kind of the small boring tasks, small boring things.
Yeah. Even if you're at home.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, I cannot.
I just cannot anymore. I can't.
No, I don't know. I cannot paint my face because everybody will think I'm crazy.
Yeah. You just do it. Yeah, exactly. You just do it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but also the crazy thing is what you have to, those things, what you have to lose. Nothing.
Ego.
Nothing. Your ego. Yeah.
Part of your ego.
Yeah. And this also reminds me of another podcast topic, is gratitude. That actually, that really, once you.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Okay. So
gonna wrap it up.
Okay, Lena, go for it. Go for it. So no, do you have something, because we took your experiences as an example? Do you have something you want to add to it?
Yeah, I think we can make this very complicated, like all the things that we said, kind of complicated. But I do want to break it down into something very easy and simple still, that what is happening is what you said, is fear. So you need to learn to regulate fear. You need to learn to regulate your nervous system. So whatever step is necessary to regulate your nervous system and to get into the present. And I think that should be your main goal every time.
Yeah.
Like how we do that, and then the steps that we showed, like this is our methods, but still we created these methods because we learned to regulate, we learned to become present. And I think that is the most important. If you learn to be present, then all the rest unfolds itself. And then you will build that trust that life creates itself for you, and that you only have to be present to learn to see that.
Yeah.
And I think that if that can be your main goal in all these situations, in whatever you face, then then it's not all that complicated at all.
No. I can add one thing to it.
Sure.
That you will build that if you take that main goal, you will also build the trust that by time, if the presence is total chaos, feels like total chaos, I think, that by time it will get clear what it is. It will the chaos will disappear and your order will come.
Yeah.
Don't expect that if you're present for the first 30 to 100 times, maybe even, that the chaos will feel like as if you're in a hurricane or you're in a sea that's going crazy. So I think also an important thing to take with it, like a side note. If you can remember that, maybe it's easier, or it's like you stick to it.
Yeah.
You stick to the awareness, and you stick to the goal of being present in that. Okay, let's wrap it up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, wait. One more thing. Like the only way to heal, or a way to heal trauma, you can only heal trauma from the present. That is also what I want to add to that.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important
Yeah. Yeah.
to practice to be present. So, okay.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
And for me, it was a really good thing to talk about, to unravel again.
Nice, yeah, for me too.
It's like a complete self-reflection thing again, by talking about it and try to put it in words. Actually,
Yeah, indeed.
That is really sometimes really difficult.
Yeah,
for me at least. So.
Yeah, for me also, like with talking with you, I found like, okay, this is how I think it works.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it became more clear. Yeah. That's also
Yeah.
nice. So if you like what we're doing here, this is what we will keep doing in our podcast. Because this is our thing, unraveling those intuitive mechanisms.
Yes, making the implicit things also explicit, I think.
Yeah,
kind of.
exactly.
And emotional management emotional intelligence is just overall intelligence, in my opinion. And you really can train it.
Yeah.
Everyone can do it, so it gives you so much power in your life. It's
power
next level. Who doesn't want power? And who doesn't want power over your own life and responsibility? So so we're gonna talk about them more. So thank you for listening, and see you in another podcast. In the next podcast. So
bye.